Today, INEC officially recognizes the leadership of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, led by a former Senate President, David Mark, by publishing on its website the details of the new leadership. And INEC has raised concerns over a growing trend of premature political campaigns across the country, describing it as a direct violation of Nigeria's electoral laws and a threat to democratic governance. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I am Sean Kimale here in Abuja. Tonight, your biggest political story is what gets our attention. On one hand, INEC says we are handicapped by law to prosecute anyone who campaigned early. But the law did say that anyone who campaigned 24 hours before the election is what is being provided for in the law. Yes, the law says you cannot engage in early campaign until a Saturday. It's 150 or 120 days before thereabout. But INEC says, I'd come out to say, these affect governance, because when you start politicking early enough, it affects governance. We'll be getting to hear from INEC tonight. But one of our biggest stories also is that INEC has officially published the names of David Mark, Aregbesola, Osumbo, and the rest, including Bolaji Abdullah, as the leadership of the ADC. We'll be speaking with Bolaji Abdullah on the program tonight also. First, before we get talking, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has charged relevant ministries and agencies of the government, as well as the private sector, to unite in ensuring that every Nigerian acquires the skills needed to thrive, in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. He gave the charge during the 7th meeting of the National Council on Skills at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. According to him, skills revolution is one of the covenants the Tinubu administration has entered into with the Nigerian people, and it's central to its promise of human capital development.
We must move towards a new streamlined workflow that embeds collaboration directly into the process of curriculum development and funding. No door to funding can be unlocked without both the ITF and the NDTE turning their keys together. Let us remember who we serve.
A federal high court sitting in Abuja has declined the bail application made by 5 terrorism suspects linked to the Al-Shabaab terrorist organization who allegedly attacked a Catholic church in Owo Town, Ondo State, leading to the death of over 40 worshippers. Justice Emeka Nwite, who dismissed their bail application, held that the terrorism charges against them were capital in nature, as the suspects were accused of being members of a strong foreign terrorist organization who may intimidate witnesses, influence and jeopardize the trial of the defendants before the court. Delivering a ruling on the bail application, Justice Nwite upheld the arguments of the Department of State Service that the evidence against the alleged terrorists is strong and cannot be glossed over. In Kaduna State, more bandits in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State have laid down their arms in line with the non-kinetic peace initiative of the administration of Governor Obasani. According to the state government, the bandits agreed to the ceasefire after months of peace meeting with relevant stakeholders. However, the bandits are appealing to the state government to provide free fertilizers to them to enable them return to their farmlands. To Ogun State, where the federal government and Ogun State government have agreed on stronger policy framework and collective actions towards protecting the rights of women and the girl child against all forms of assault and violence in order to guarantee their fundamental human rights. The expression of interest was displayed in Abeokuta, the state capital, when the Minister of Women Affairs, Hajia Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, paid a working visit to the State Women Development Center and the Assault Referral Center located in the state capital. The minister seeks women's support for federal government policies and programs, restoration of family value system for better Nigeria, growth and development.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So let's get to it first. Madam Bolaji Abdullah is here live with me in the studio over the publishing of the David Mark-led leadership of the ADC. But before we get talking with him, let me catch up with my guest who is virtually joining us and is on the matter where INEC is raising alarm and concerns about early campaigns. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has raised a concern that the growing trend of premature political campaigns across the country is a direct violation of Nigeria's electoral laws and a threat to democratic governance. He was speaking at a one-day roundtable on the challenges of early political campaigns, which was held at the Electoral Institute in Abuja. Professor Yakubu highlights that what he described as the stubborn trend of political campaigning ahead of the scheduled timelines, especially in relation to upcoming off-cycle governorship elections, the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections, and the 2027 general election. Let me allow you to listen to the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu.
Political parties, candidates, and their supporters seem to be perpetually in election mode in Nigeria, even when the Electoral Commission is yet to release the timetable and schedule of activities for elections, or ahead of the time frame provided by law. Around the country, we have seen outdoor advertising, media campaigns, and even rallies promoting various political parties and candidates. These actions and activities undermine the Commission's ability to track campaign finance limits as politicians, prospective candidates, and third-party agents expend large amounts of money that cannot be effectively monitored before the official commencement of campaigns. And tracking of campaign finance is one of the cardinal responsibilities of the Commission under the law. So quite correctly, Nigerians expect INEC as registrar and regulator of political parties to act in the face of brazen breach of the law on early campaign. However, the major challenge for the Commission is the law itself.
All right, that's the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. His concern is how it affects governance. Let's speak with the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC. Ms. Victoria Etamesi is live for us virtually. Thank you so much, Madam, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yeah. I'm without having to want to challenge your understanding or that of INEC on what campaign means. Because these days, the debate between political parties and politicians could be tantamount to campaign. But what does INEC or the law describe or define as campaign? Because we need to understand what a campaign is so that we understand where the offense of early campaign comes. What is a campaign? It sounds like a jump question, but it's very important, and I'll get to the reason why I'm asking that question.
I think that is a jump question, really. A campaign is one of the provisions that political parties are allowed to take part in ahead of elections so that they can sell their manifestos and what they have to offer to the electorate. In essence, to tell the people what it is they have in stock for them when they come into office. And again, like the Honorable Chairman said, the law is now the problem because the law was not explicit on what should be done or who should be held responsible before, because the law provides that 150 days to elections, campaigns can begin and must end 24 hours to the elections, to the election day. The law again provides penalty for 24 hours to election day if any political party or a candidate conducts any form of campaign. And again, that is a paltry sum of 500,000 naira. But the law is silent on what should be done if any form of campaign is conducted before the window of the 150 days before elections. The main problem here is the fact that politicians are being smart by half, because the argument is that they do not know who is responsible. They are using third-party proxies to ensure that they are put in the faces of Nigerians and the citizenry. And that is where the challenge lies.
I'm going to say this. This is just maybe those who are concerned about reframing or reviewing our laws. If you go to the United States, for example, that's why I did my fellowship. My fellowship is basically on elections. So call me an election expert and you will be very right. Now, the question here is that any campaign, for example, Bolaji Abdullahi wants to be president of Nigeria. If he's the one producing that campaign, he will say, I, Bolaji Abdullahi, endorse this campaign. Now, in Nigeria, people, like what you said, politicians being smart by half, is being anybody who wakes up in the morning and without missing words. We started seeing 2027 for Bola Tinubu on the street of Abuja and at the APC. And so the question was, is it the president that is already campaigning for himself, or his political party, or his lovers, or those who collected contract from federal government, or who? That's why I'm saying if there is a way INEC can also codify campaigns, either from the NBC point of view or from the APCON point of view or from even the commission, to say if you are putting up any campaign material, you have to put your authorization on it, or whoever authorizes it. If not, it cannot go. That's aside. Now, the reason why I ask what the definition of campaign, and it's quite important, because if I'm having a conversation with anybody in government about what they promise and the implication of on their re-election, anybody could term it as they're campaigning, but they're talking about what they have done for the Nigerian people. And that's why I'm asking what a campaign is. And this is what the Nigerian law, especially electoral law, says about campaign. It says is the activity, any of the activities conducted by political parties and candidates to promote their candidacy for elections. Very simple and straightforward. But it's also ambiguous. It could mean anything. And that takes me to the point. At what point in this period did INEC realize that people are already contravening that section of the law?
INEC is not isolated from other Nigerians. We've also seen all the billboards, all the rallies, all the promotions of the achievements by political parties, because that also is another form of campaign, letting us know your scorecard and then having weekly and monthly interviews with the press. These are all ways of remaining or staying in the faces of people. And the argument or the discourse today was that that is an unfair playing field, because other political parties, the point was made that it cuts across most, let me not say all political parties, but the point was made that any state you go to, any government in power takes advantage of that and does exactly the same thing. So it's not tied to just one political party. It's just that one in particular is much more prominent. And again, people are using incumbency benefits to their advantage, to the detriment of those who are not in office.
Now, so on one hand, if you blame the ruling parties or the incumbent candidates or persons in office, you can also blame, if you say, oh, they're talking about the activities, you can blame the opposition. Because when the opposition comes on television or radio or whatever, they tell you how better they could be, and they're not performing. So the question is, at what point, even on the media, Section 22 says, our role is to hold government accountable to the Nigerian people. How do you hold them accountable without talking about their promises? When you talk about their promises, you talk about their electability, then you cross the line of campaign. So it's a big problem, isn't it?
Yeah, and so that's also where the media comes in. Because giving undue advantage or undue prominence or visibility to just one political party is a problem. So if you want to know what is happening then I think you should also give equal opportunities to all the political, established and registered political parties. Yeah, that may also be a problem, because if you're not in office, then you're probably you're not able to do much. So it's been between the devil and the deep blue sea. So it's actually a dicey problem, which was why the Commission thought that all critical stakeholders who have a role to play should come together to begin to brainstorm and to think of the way forward on how we can fix this problem. Because a lot of attack has been on the Commission, that the Commission isn't doing much. But our hands are tied. There really isn't much we can do until the legal framework is amended, and that would give us the powers to take action. The only part of the law, like I mentioned, was Section 84(2), which just is a slap on the wrist and does not only allows us to take action if campaign is conducted 24 hours to elections, but is very silent on what should be done to defaulters who conduct campaigns before the 150 days window. So until the law is amended, then there really isn't much that we can do, and which is why the Commission insisted that all other players, the regulatory bodies, ARCON, NBC, BON, the media, NBA, to throw insights into the issues, the legal issues, that we should all come together and then brainstorm so that we can decide or collectively agree on how to go forward. IPAC was also there because they are the umbrella body for political parties. They are the culprits in all of this. And funny enough, or interestingly enough, the IPAC chairman also was not happy with what was being done, because really it's lopsided. So even members of IPAC, most members of IPAC are also not happy because they are victims in all of this as well.
So, I mean, where some of us would disagree is where this particular provision now stand or tampers the constitutional provision of the media. Now, the fear now that people will not campaign early will now make them to run away from being accountable. That's another issue. Our job is to hold government accountable to the Nigerian people. So some people will say, I don't want to campaign, that's why I don't want to talk. I don't want to campaign, that's why we don't want to say what we are doing. And that, you know how difficult it is to even hold government accountable in this climate. Now, when there is now a provision to say you cannot do early campaign, and that's why I was asking, what is the definition of campaign? And I'll give you two different words, madam. I am the best candidate for 2027. And that's on one hand. The same person saying, whatever we have promised in the last 2 years, we have performed. Those two, do they amount to campaign rhetoric?
The first clearly is campaign. The second is shielded. It's a form of campaign, and that is why I said it's difficult for us to be able to hold them accountable, because a lot of them are being very, very smart and taking advantage of the lacuna in the law, which ties our hands and we cannot do much, and which is also why we're calling on all other critical stakeholders. Yeah, they are always in the media, and the argument or the point was made that the media, if it is public or government, the government would definitely have to do what their principal or their paymasters want them to do. And the private, they're also in business, and so they cannot throw away any good business that is brought before them. And that is again why we called on ARCON, because they are the regulatory body for advertising, so that they can do be more diligent in what they do to ensure that there's a level playing field for all political players. But again, another issue that was brought up by the regulatory body, by ARCON, was the fact that with the proliferation of media platforms, is it the new media, is it the traditional media? So if you regulate, or you try to regulate the way they play using the traditional media, how do you regulate how they play using the new media? So either way, any way you look at it, until the laws are clearly written out and spelled out, we'll just be going round and round in circles. And politicians are taking advantage of that.
Madam, there are those who will say, INEC, you are wrong. You clearly have seen these infringements and infractions, but you have kept quiet. Those who are perpetrating it are known. Their party is known. Whatever they are doing, whatever they have said is known. Why would you say you cannot? If there's an infraction is an infraction. Why does it look like INEC is afraid to take action?
INEC is not afraid to take action. I said earlier, there is a lacuna in the law. And so what do we lean on if you say we should take action based on the infraction?
No, but madam, there is no lacuna. Apologies, please. There is no lacuna. If there is no punishment on a particular infraction, it's different from the fact that the law does not talk about it. The law has stipulated that no campaign must be done 150 days before an election. So, and 24 hours it has to stop before the election. There's no lacuna. You do a campaign before 150 days, it is an offense, it's an infraction. Exactly. Let the court determine the punishment for such a person. So INEC is definitely wrong by saying there is a lacuna.
Fine. And so who do you hold responsible?
The party that is that is caused the infraction.
So which of the parties have you seen? If you look at all the billboards, they are promoted by third-party proxies. And so who do you hold responsible? I think recently I saw, I think it was the president who said he doesn't know. But then how do you say you do not know? And that is why we're holding on, or we're calling on the regulatory body, the advertising regulatory body, because whoever put up those posters must have made some form of payment. And so we cannot say we do not, or that they do not know them. That is outside of our purview. So the law for us states that candidates or political parties, but now candidates are denying that they don't know anything about it. Political parties are denying they don't know anything about it. So who do you hold responsible?
So now madam, so I agree with you to that extent when someone says they use my name and I'm not aware. Yeah, and they use my name a lot on social media to do so. AI generated, whatever. People use my name, if I said something on television, I ask a question, someone quoted something totally different that I never said. And I'm wondering if I was one who said it. It happens, and we understand. But the question right here is that, have you held any political parties whose logo, people have started campaigning for President Bola Tinubu 3 months into assuming office. It's embarrassing for the president, and I'm not sure the president is the one who did it. Right? And if anybody had done it, if they have held the president who is a candidate of the party at that election and the political party responsible, let them now be the one to pull it down and say, look, because the question is that there are those who are saying INEC is complicit. If you are keeping quiet and looking away, there are party logos, there are names of candidates that are being mentioned. Why not hold those people account? That's why they're thinking you are afraid and you are complicit.
We're not afraid, and we're not complicit. We can't keep going around town to bring down billboards. The regulatory bodies, the advertising regulatory body should do that because they put the boards out in the first place, or they authorized or allowed the boards to be put out in the first place. INEC had no hand in it, and so we can't keep going around town to bring down boards.
But you can hold those people whose names and parties are doing campaigns. Because people are already saying, vote so for 2027. Because look, he will come to equity, let's say, must come with clean hands. INEC, to be believed in 2027, should be able to show cause that they are not biased and can speak to anyone and call. INEC is a regulator of all political parties. All political parties get their licenses, their permission, their authorization to operate from INEC. Then INEC is their mother and should be able to call everybody to order. So, I'm charging INEC to be able to take action right now to say, if you see your name there, we will call you and you be the one responsible to go and fix those things. That's one of the things that people are saying.
During the last consultative meeting that the commission held with the political parties, this issue was put on the table, and their attention was called to the fact that they were going contrary to what the law stipulates. Like I said, INEC cannot keep going around town to bring down the boards, which was again why we decided to bring together the stakeholders, critical stakeholders that have a role to play in this discourse and this infringement, so to speak, to put their heads together to decide to come up with actionable plans on how we can address this issue. and situate blame where it should be situated. But the main issue here is that we are limited by the law for now. And if the laws are not amended accordingly, there really isn't much that we can do. The regulatory advertising body can do much more than we can do. The media, that was why we invited BON there and NBC, so that they also will play their part. So nobody is coming out smelling of roses here. The media is culpable, and the regulatory advertising body is culpable. And so if you want to put the blame on INEC, then you have to spread the blame around, because all of us have one role or the other to play to ensure that political parties are held accountable.
Trust us, we will partner with you. We will help to be able to achieve your aim in sanitizing the field, so that no one will feel left out or no one will feel precluded in the scheme of things. But thank you, madam. Before you go, what is happening with you've settled the matter of ADC, but what about the Labour Party?
What's wrong with the Labour Party?
Who is the authentic chairman of Labour Party?
That is in court, so we can't comment on that.
But that of ADC is confirmed, David Mark.
Yes, it is.
All right. Miss Victoria Etta Messi, the Director of Voter Education and Publicity at INEC. It's a pleasure having a conversation with you tonight. Thanks so much indeed.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Malam Bolaji Abdullah is with me in the studio. But we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about his political party leadership, the recognition by INEC on his website of the David Mark Adegbeshola leadership. Gets us talking after now, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us right here on the program. Let's switch gears now and talk about what INEC did. Today, INEC has officially recognized the leadership of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, led by a former Senate President, David Mark. The confirmation, which was displayed on the website of INEC, was cited by us on earlier today, and recognition came after an internal restructuring that resulted in the emergence of national officers to reposition the party further ahead of to the 2027 January elections. Aside from Mark, who was appointed as the interim chairman, INEC listed a former Osun State governor, Rauf Aregbesola, as national secretary. Other principal officers now officially recognized by the electoral body include former Edo Governor Osariwen Osumbo as national legal advisor, Ibrahim Mani as the national treasurer, and Akibu Dalhatu as the national financial secretary. The opposition coalition officially adopted the ADC as its political platform on the 2nd of July 2025, with the aim of contesting the presidential and other elections in 2027. The coalition says it was set to rescue the country from collapse and rebuild its democracy. Let's now get to talk about this. I'm being joined on the program by the spokesperson of the ADC, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi. Thank you so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
What does this mean for the David Mark-led ADC?
Of course, it means that I don't know what you mean when you say David Mark-led ADC. Why you are not asking me what does it mean for ADC? You say what does it mean for David Mark-led ADC? As if there is another ADC.
Yeah, well, there's been a contention. You were waiting for this to happen. As a confirmation.
Yeah.
Now that this has happened, there's still people who are contesting whether or not David Mark.
When you say what now happens to ADC, then I can answer you. But when you say what happens to David Mark-led ADC, and I answer you, I'm inadvertently admitting that there's another ADC or there's another leadership.
But of course, you are aware that there are other people who are contesting. Lumedi is in court. Honorable Lekabi, there are those who are saying, no, we cannot. You have not come to the party in the right way.
We are not aware. We're not aware that anybody is in court against ADC. At this moment, we're not aware. You see, what we have found is that people hold press conferences and make claims and make threats, but in the end, because they know the hollowness of their standing, they know they cannot follow it through. As far as we are concerned in ADC, we are not aware of any case, any legal case, any case against the ADC as I talk to you. So what we have is the administrative process, the completion of the administrative process of changing the leadership of the ADC from where we're coming from to where we are to, from where we want to be. So there is no question of any other leadership for the African Democratic Congress in Nigeria today.
So what does this mean? That INEC now is taking a bit of a time since July, so we are in September, taking over 2 months for INEC to take that decision.
Well, you can say that. I think you will start counting from the day that we held the NEC meeting, not the July 2nd, the NEC meeting. And what has happened is entirely administrative, like I've maintained. You know, it's also a new territory for us. It's not something that you do every day, that a political party will be formed the way we have done it. So there are bound to be issues. But INEC being the regulatory organization and to ensure that everything was done the right way, so we had a bit of forward and backward, but finally we are able to meet all the requirements in terms of documentation. And that is resolved, and today we can move forward and more deliberately in terms of building our party.
It's fascinating, actually, isn't it, that the recognition comes as of those who are in office, not even in interim position. INEC is saying National Chairman, Senator David Mark, National Secretary, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, National Treasurer, Mani Ibrahim Ahmed, National Financial Secretary, Aki Budal Atu, National Legal Advisor, Professor Osariwen Osumbo. It's interesting that they're not even in interim capacity. But at your NEC meeting, it was an interim that we understand that these positions should be held.
Yeah, because you see, before you hold your convention, the NEC can act in place of convention. Right? So what the NEC did is what is constitutionally approved for the NEC to do in terms of nominating and approving these particular officers of the party. So we know that we have to get to our convention, and you know, party convention, the elective convention, is going to happen next year. But meanwhile, we have officers of the party that have been duly elected by the National Executive Committee of the party. So there is no contradiction at all.
But you were not listed there. So those 5 or 6 positions that were listed?
There are about 53 positions. Okay. What we need is for INEC to, you know, INEC is concerned mostly with election, with what concerns them as an election body.
Management body.
So as an election management body. The positions they have listed are mostly that have implication for electoral processes. They are going to list the rest, but for us, this is the most important for us, because the work of what the chairman does, what the national secretary does, what the legal advisor does, all these have direct implication for electoral activities within the party and outside the party. So we are happy that these have been listed. I mean, so we don't want anything to say, anybody to come and say, oh, you have such a long list of executive and we are still waiting to upload the rest. That's why we've not released. So for what INEC has done, we commend INEC for what they have done and for standing on the side of democracy. So in this regard.
Yeah, just a little bit of fact check. There was a case in July filed by Adeyemi Emmanuel, Ayodeji Victor Tolu, and Aruna Ismaila at the Federal High Court in Abuja against the David Mark-led leadership.
We are not aware.
You have not been joined in that suit? Or you have not been notified?
We are
officially?
not aware. Yeah.
Or the legal advisor is aware, but you are not. Your office had not been notified?
It's possible, but I'm not aware of any such case.
Because I know about, this is probably the second or third case that I'm aware that has been instituted in
what I'm telling you, and I'm not saying that you are a killjoy, but I'm saying that...
Well, you're implying...
but I'm saying...
But as a journalist...
But I'm saying that...
I could imagine the implication of INEC's decision to other parties who believe, who says, look, why are you entertaining Bolaji and his... why are you allowing them to talk? Because we are the authentic... You, in your mind, you probably be thinking, why are you allowing to maybe to talk? Because we are the authentic... There's a lot of people who have their own... When something is contentious...
Yeah, no, there's no contention, unless the one you are creating. There is no contention. It is very clear. the coalition came into the ADC, and all the executive of the ADC, all the relevant executive resigned en masse, signed their resignation letter to allow the new officers to take over. Now we've taken over. The duty that we had was to go back and report to INEC to say, look, we had a NEC meeting. Now we have new leadership, right? Now, if you hear the people who are saying, oh, they are not executive. These are people who were part of the process, who resigned their positions. So you cannot find anybody that is challenging this, that has a locus to do it. You mentioned the former presidential candidate. He doesn't have it because he was not in the executive. It's only someone, like I told you at the last time I came here to discuss this. It's a Raf Nwosu that was previously recognized by INEC that can come and say, no, I'm still the chairman and not David Mark. Right? If Raf is accepted as the chairman of the ADC, and Raf is now saying, I've resigned my position, and NEC is saying, now that you have resigned your position, we're appointing somebody else. So it's only Raf that can come and say, no, I did not resign. Or the secretary that can come and say, no, I'm not resigning. Because if we did not come on board, no one will be challenging the legitimacy of Raf Nwosu. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So for us, it's not a concern. For us, the most important thing has been done, which is that we have made that transition effectively, and we want to move forward with the task of building our party. Like you said, if anybody has gone to court or is planning to go to court, please, we will encourage them to do it. It's part of democracy, and we'll be ready to do that.
I mean, you've been a former minister, you had position in Kwara State, but if someone comes today and said, you are not authentic Bolaji Abdullahi, what would you say to the person?
I don't envisage that.
It could happen. So that's the point, right?
I don't envisage that.
That's the deal. But when you hear it, you'll be shocked, isn't it? Well, and that's what happens in politics. You know, the dimension of the contention.
Are you saying that someone can come and claim that he is the authentic Raf Nwosu?
Oh, it could be the authentic leadership of the party.
No,
that's what they're contending. And they say, look, whatever position Raf Nwosu took, it might be in a political delusion, and that he doesn't have the power to do it. But let's leave that aside for a moment. Why do you think there was a poor outing of the ADC in this past election that held?
Which past election?
Or the by-elections?
Which by-elections? The last elections?
There was a by-election.
Yeah, well, you know, we've explained it. We've issued a statement. We've talked about it several times. You know, that for us, the election happened less than a month after we came into the party. Most of the candidates, we didn't even know them. So, and that's why we said we cannot judge the ADC by, you are just talking about us transitioning into establishing our real leadership at this time. So, the by-election that you talked about happened too early in terms of transition for the party. So, no, we don't want to be judged by the outcome of that election. You know, but there are other elections. So if you are talking about other elections, then I don't want to talk about so that you don't say I'm campaigning, you know. But there are other elections coming, you know. So we'll be ready for those.
But this announcement or this publishing that INEC did today, would you say that is a statement to say you are now ready officially to roll out?
Well, I mean, we've been ready, you know, but what it means is that this will now give more confidence to our membership across the country, because I must admit that so many people have been apprehensive because they don't know what was going to happen. You see, the integrity of our public institution is at stake, and I think you mentioned it earlier. A lot of our institutions, public institutions, have credibility problem. So even when they are purely administrative issues, people begin to suspect some conspiracy. So the longer it took for us to tidy this up, the more people began to think that INEC was pandering to some interests other than what they were constitutionally mandated to do. Now that it has been done, and like we said, we were very clear that it was purely administrative. Now we can go ahead. Our members across the country have been excited. Those who were holding back, waiting for this to happen, now have seen they can now come in. So we can move forward more deliberately in the task of building our party.
Have you been able to identify the numbers of people who have now officially joined since that coalition was announced?
No, I can't tell you. I can't tell you that numbers. But what I know is that in every ward in this country today, there is an ADC meeting happening. And I can tell you that the last time I was back in Ilori, I attended my ward meeting. When I signed my name on the register, I was number 73, a ward meeting. I mean, that had never happened in all the years that I've... So what I'm saying is that people are excited, and that's the direction we want to go. We want to build a party, a mass political party that's able to mobilize people across the nooks and crannies of Nigeria. So I can't tell you, oh, these are the numbers. But now that we have done this and have this substantive executive in place, substantive in terms of being crossing the INEC hurdle, we'll now begin to do systematic registration of members. It now means that the chairman can now serve membership card, the secretary can now serve membership card, then we can begin to roll out. Then maybe at the end of the year or so, we can tell you that this is how many people we have registered in our parties.
And there are those who will say ADC, no governor, no senator, one House of Reps member, or I think one or two. That political structure, zero.
You see, Sheila, let me tell you something. The most important mission of the ADC is to build a real political party.
Not to win 2027.
No, we want to win 2027. I'm coming to that. You see, the most important thing is for us to build a real political party. A real political party that stands for something, that believes in something. And this is the message we are going to push to Nigerians. Nigerians, the most important is for us to give Nigerians alternative. We want Nigerians to get to 2027 and ask themselves, has this ruling party improved our lives or made our life worse? And decide whether they want to continue with this ruling party or they want a change. So we want a situation when people want a change, they can look back and see our party as a viable alternative. So this has nothing to do. Most of these governors you mentioned can't... I saw a video yesterday of a state governor that went to a village in a state, and he was met with people saying, we don't want you. And they started chanting ADC, ADC. If I can send the video to you. So what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter that we have... what we are trying to do has probably not been done in a long time. In 2014, 2015, you have a merger of political parties. And I think it's actually unprecedented. But now we have merger of individuals. And ADC is one party that we're trying to build on the principle of egalitarianism, equal membership. So you will see that when every member feels empowered in their respective position to provide leadership, whether at zonal level or at state level or at ward level, then you begin to see that everybody is committed into delivering the objective of the party. We are not worried about how many officers win. We are not worried about that.
It's whether or not Nigerians will accept you ahead of 2027.
It's our duty to convince them that we represent the alternative. And that's
it's a question of whether or not Bola Tinubu could be given a chance in 2027 to finish what he started. Or
what has he started?
People could look at the PDP and say, oh, we trust you, you've been on the ground for a while.
Those are options. But the most important thing is that when Nigerians look at APC, Nigerians will ask themselves, are we happy with this government? The situation that was created in the country before we came on board was a condition of fait accompli, where Nigeria was gradually becoming a one-party state, that the only option available was the ruling party. Now, you cannot say that 2 months after. What we have done is that we have opened up the political space. Nigerians feel they have option. So it's within the constitutional right of Nigerians to say, oh, we are happy with what the ruling party has done, or to say, no, if we are not happy, what alternative is available to us? And they can look around and see ADC. So
give me a moment. Let's go on another break. And when we come back, the ADC was making a comment in what is happening in the Senate, especially as relating to the Senator Fabio-led Senate and the case of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Don't forget, there's another national power grid collapse. We'll be getting the reaction from the ADC after this break, everyone. And it's again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Bolaji Abdullah is the spokesperson of the ADC, speaking with us on the state of affairs of the party. Of course, you can see on your screen the announcement is published by INEC today. The enlisting of David Mark, Rao Varegbeshola Osumbo, and the rest as official leadership of the party in their different capacity. Let's close the program in a few words. You made a comment in a statement today reacting to the situation in the Senate regarding Senator Natasha Akpoto-Uduaghan, who said that she's returning to work, but the Senate has responded through the clerk, office of the clerk, to say, no, you cannot, because there is a case in court that you need to answer to, and it's still not finalized.
We feel this is wrong. We've not commented on this saga since it started, but at this point we felt that this goes beyond partisan politics. Natasha Akpoto is not a member of our party, but this has implications for our democracy. I think saying that she will not be admitted because there's a pending court case is being dubious, in the sense that it was not a court that sent her on suspension. It's the National Assembly that sent her on a 6-month suspension. That has nothing to do or has no bearing on the subsequent court cases or court case that they are referring to. She has been sent on suspension. She had been sent on suspension for 6 months. She has served that suspension. There is no reason why she should not be admitted into the National Assembly at the expiry of those 6 months, unless the National Assembly wants to give us the impression that there are other issues that they are not telling Nigerians, and we feel particularly concerned because the voice of Natasha Akpoto is the voice of her people, and when you deny her admission into the National Assembly, what it means that you are also denying her people representation. That is one. Two, we also note that Natasha Akpoto is only one of 4 women in the Senate. Out of 109 senators, only 4 women. That's a very poor representation of women in the Senate. That's 2.7% of the Senate representation for women. That's one of the worst records in the world. So when you go on excessively punishing one of these few women, you are also creating a condition where it could potentially discourage women from coming forward to fight for, to contest election. So we believe it is wrong, and it's on this basis that we are saying that the Senate must change gear and allow the senator to resume her position.
Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, thanks so much indeed for joining us tonight on the program.
My pleasure.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Akimale. God bless Nigeria.